What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. And today, for this video, I'll be ranking all the Star Wars movies using the tier system. So I think you obviously seen other videos how the tier system works, so I won't go into much detail explaining it. So first off, I'm going to start with how it's going to work for me is that I'm going to start with each movie in chronological order and not chronological order in the Star Wars timeline. So we'll start with the Phantom Menace and end with the Rise of Skywalker. So let's begin with the Phantom Menace. Now, it's no secret that the Phantom Menace is often considered to be the worst or the second worst Star Wars movie in eyes of the fans, mainly because of the acting and dialogue, Jar Jar, and overall, it just doesn't have a very compelling story overall. For me, the main problem with the Phantom Menace is it's just boring for the most part. I mean, like I could do without most of the Tatooine stuff, all the Padme stuff. I mean, all the Gungan stuff was just stupid. However, the Phantom Menace also does have redeeming qualities in it. I like Liam Neeson as Qui-Gon. I also like Ewan McGregor as young Obi-Wan. And obviously, I mean, the battle with Darth Maul, the lightsaber fight with Darth Maul, Obi-Wan, and Qui-Gon at the end was just phenomenal as well. I also like the pod race towards the end. That was one of the few Tatooine scenes I actually did like. So overall, the Phantom Menace, I mean, it's just boring, but it does have redeeming qualities. So I'm gonna put Phantom Menace at C tier. I don't think it's as bad as a few other movies on this list. Next, we have Attack of the Clones. And like I mentioned before, Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones are often flip-flop for which movie is the worst. However, for me, I actually consider Attack of the Clones to be the worst, even be the worst out of the two. Mainly it comes down to Hayden Christensen and Natalie Portman's romance and acting. It's just so bad and so cringy. It's some of the worst acting I've ever seen, and some of the worst, especially the worst love story I've ever seen personally. And also, I mean, the overabundant CGI with Attack of the Clones, horrible acting, bad dialogue from most actors, just knock it off. However, there are two things I did like with this movie. Obviously, the same thing with Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan, and the final battle of Geonosis with the Clone Army. But also, the Clone Army, that's something that could have been really developed in Attack of the Clones. When the Kaminoans first mentioned Slave Diaz commissioned the Clone Army, like they never really explored that. It was like once a done thing, and while that was explored more in the Clone Wars, I wish it was explored in Attack of the Clones. So if you combine all the things with the bad acting, bad dialogue, overabundant CGI, I'm gonna put Attack of the Clones at D tier. I do think it's worse than Phantom Menace. Next, we have the best of the prequel and my personal favorite Star Wars movie, Revenge of the Sith. Now, if you're watching Revenge of the Sith in chronological order, this is a movie that literally where everything changes. The Jedi are nearly extinct, the Republic falls, the Empire rises, and then Anakin becomes Darth Vader, and then obviously Luke and Leia born at the very, very end. Now, it does also have some problems with the dialogue, but Hayden Christensen, compared to Attack of the Clones, has significantly improved in Revenge of the Sith compared to Attack of the Clones. Revenge of the Sith also has the best story of all the Star Wars movies, and CGI still holds up today. Like the opening battle of Coruscant is still amazing and phenomenally done. So, and also, I just love the Clone Wars era as a whole. Between Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith, I just love the whole era, especially with the TV show. So, as you guys figured, I'm gonna put Revenge of the Sith at S tier. Now, next we have Solo. Now, I have three main gripes with Solo. Solo is very predictable, it's very boring, and ultimately, you don't get anything out of it. At least with all these other movies, even including Attack of the Clones, like if when you watch something, like it adds something to the overall story. Like with Solo, you can literally skip Solo in all these Star Wars movies and literally not miss anything. Like I mean, I will say that Alden Ehrenreich was better than portraying young Han Solo that I thought it was going to be, but it still wasn't very good. I mean, I like Donald Glover as Lando, but I mean, Lando was just weird in Solo. He just didn't fit right. And obviously, Darth Maul at the end. Well, I personally like Darth Maul. It doesn't make any sense to have Darth Maul in there. Looking back on it, since they're not doing a Solo sequel, since it didn't perform well in the box office, and especially people who haven't seen the Clone Wars or Rebels are probably thinking, "Wait, how did Darth Maul survive? He died in the first movie." So you already have to know a little more in Star Wars lore to understand that Darth Maul did in fact survive. So because you don't get anything out of Solo, you can literally skip it and not miss a thing. I'm also gonna put Solo at D tier next to Attack of the Clones. Next we have Rogue One. Now, I personally think Rogue One is very, very underrated amongst the Star Wars community. It's definitely the best out of the Disney movies, and is also in my top 3 for favorite Star Wars movies. while they didn't really develop the characters much, that's pretty much expected because in the opening crawl of A New Hope, it said like all these rebels have died trying to get these plans. So going into it, like I knew like these characters weren't going to make it out, and they weren't going to have a lot of time to make it. It's also some of the best action I've seen, and it certainly has probably. I'm not sure if I would say it's hard to say if I would put the space battle in Rogue One better than space battle at Endor, but because of that, and also Darth Vader at the end is amazing. So because of that, I'm not in my heart I want to put Rogue One at S tier, but I'm not sure if I can really do that. So I'm gonna put Rogue One at A tier. I do think it's better than a lot of the other Star Wars Disney Star. It's definitely the best of the Disney Star Wars movies, and definitely one of the better Star Wars movies. Because in some instances, it doesn't even feel like a Star Wars movie. In some instances, it feels more like a war movie, which I kind of like in that aspect. Next, we have A New Hope. This is the OG. This is this movie that started everything. So basically, if A New Hope never was never made, all these other movies would not exist. I mean, it's just classic nostalgia. Now, is it a better movie than like Empire or Revenge of the Sith? Yes and no. It's not better than Empire, but in a filmmaking perspective, it is better than Revenge of the Sith. So I mean, No Hope's classic. I mean, it goes straight up to A tier. Now, Empire Strikes Back. This is probably most people's favorite, if not the favorite, their favorite. But I'm definitely in the minority here. I actually think The Empire Strikes Back is overrated. Now it's mainly because like since I grew up with the prequels and I watched Revenge of the Sith, like I already knew like Anakin was Darth Vader, so the iconic "I'm your father" plot twist it didn't really work for me since I already knew what it was going to happen. And also, I mean, like I said, in terms of a filmmaker perspective, Empire is definitely a better movie compared to these other movies up here. But for me personally, I just honestly can't enjoy it as much as some of these other movies here. So I know I'm gonna get a lot of criticism for this in the comments section, but I'm gonna put Empire at B tier. Like I said, I know it's a lot of people's favorite, and don't get me wrong, it's not a bad movie by any means. It's a very good movie, but I just don't enjoy it as much as these other three up here. So next you have Return of the Jedi, which is considered to be the weakest of the three originals, and I'll agree with that. I will say that 2/3 of Return of the Jedi is great, and 1/3 is meh. The beginning act with Jabba the Hutt and all the crimes lord stuff in there, that was good stuff. And the final act to end with Luke, Vader, and Palpatine and the space battle and the Battle of Endor, that was also good. Really, where Return of the Jedi suffers is within the middle. I mean, it's just too long. Like the Rebel Alliance saying, like, "Oh, we have to destroy the Death Star again." It's not protected by energy shield. You got to go there. And then well, there were a few good moments in there, but also the Ewoks were. I mean, they were the Ewoks, not really likable. I mean, they shouldn't. I mean, even though they do have technically have the home field advantage, they really shouldn't in the Galactic have been able to take on stormtroopers with ease. However, it does have a very very satisfying ending, so I'm gonna put Return of the Jedi at B tier as well. Now next we have the Disney movies. The Disney movies are without a doubt the most controversial movies of all of Star Wars, so I'm gonna rank them on each individual movie instead. So first we have The Force Awakens. Now The Force Awakens, in case you haven't seen it, is a blatant ripoff of New Hope and is almost a shot-for-shot remake of the original. I mean, then you have Rey, grew up on this desert planet, same thing as Luke. I mean, you have Evil Empire, which is now the First Order. You got Kylo Ren, who's the new Darth Vader wannabe. You have the old Han Solo. While he didn't, like be like the Han Solo necessarily, like he was the mentor to Rey, like Obi-Wan was the mentor to Luke. You have Finn and Poe, who are supposed to represent the new versions of Leia and Han. So even though The Force Awakens is a blatant ripoff of New Hope, I can still watch it and enjoy it. So I'm gonna put Force Awakens at B tier. I wouldn't necessarily put it at the same level as New Hope and Rogue One, but I would put it at the same level as Return of the Jedi. So next we have The Last Jedi, without a doubt the most polarizing Star Wars movie. So when it comes to The Last Jedi, for me personally, I like parts of it. Like I do like Luke and Rey and the Kylo dynamic, but the movie as a whole is just a mess and is just very inconsistent. Now, I haven't really seen any people say this a lot, but people never, when people always say like this movie is not like Empire Strikes Back. I actually like to disagree with that. This movie is actually very similar to The Empire Strikes Back. First, you have obviously the Battle of Crate, which is a ripoff of the Battle of Hoth. You have the master-student dynamic with Luke being the master and Rey being the student. You also have Kylo trying to convince Rey to join him, trying to convince Rey to join him. And then also there's like some big plot reveal, which is supposed to be that Rey was eventually nobody, but that was Rey's parents were nobodies, and she came from nothing. but that obviously got retconned in Rise of Skywalker. And also the Canto Bight I thought was supposed to represent Cloud City, but they didn't do a very good job of Canto Bight at all. And also the space sequence when the first order just chasing down the Resistance, it was bad. And also it just reminded me of the Empire chasing down the Millennium Falcon. They also couldn't catch it. So the Empire Strikes Back and the Last Jedi are a lot more similar than people think they are. But when it comes to acting, the acting is significantly better compared to Episode 2 and Solo. So I'm gonna put Last Jedi at C tier. Now I do understand like why people put it down so low, but for me the acting is just better compared to Attack of the Clones, where it's just so stale and boring. And then last you have the Rise of Skywalker. Now the Rise of Skywalker, I was very nervous when they announced that Palpatine was coming back, and the Palpatine stuff honestly just didn't really work for me because they didn't explain it how it came back at all in the movie. However, like in a novelization or somewhere else, I forgot exactly where, that they said he was a clone. So I mean, the sequel trilogy as a whole, I mean, Rise of Skywalker, I mean, it's just a mess. I mean, very convoluted. Pacing is bad. However, there were some things I do like in it. I mean, I did like that we finally got Finn, Rey, and Poe together, which is something that the other two sequel movies have been lacking. So I did like that. I mean, I like BB-8, I like Chewbacca, and I like C-3PO. So there were some things I did like in this movie, but like I said, it just had bad pacing from beginning to end, and ultimately, I just didn't feel like it had a satisfying conclusion to Return of the Jedi. Like Return of the Jedi had a much more satisfying conclusion than Rise of Skywalker. Like at the end of the Return of the Jedi, like I didn't have any more questions. However, after the end of Rise of Skywalker, I do have questions that are probably not gonna get answered or are gonna get answered in a bad way. So same thing with Last Jedi and Phantom Menace. I'm gonna put Rise of Skywalker at C tier. Like I said, it's just not as I could watch all of these movies before I could watch these. So that's gonna do it for this video, and stay tuned for the next one. Have a great day, guys. Bye.